I'm talking about taxes. Don't click off, don't click off. This is really important and prudent to your future, guys, and I didn't know anything about taxes until this year. I swear to God, I had a lot to learn, and this has blown my mind, and I think it'll blow yours, so let's jump right into this. Alright guys, what's more boring than talking about taxes? Well, there's not much else, but I learned how completely the Canadian tax system generally works, and I've mainly been just using an accountant to help manage a lot of this because I've always saved a lot of money, so paying taxes has never been an issue, but I work for myself, so things are a little different than if you are employed. But once I figured out how tax brackets work, and again, super boring statement, my mind was blown because it made it really easy for me to track my own income, and whether you are self-employed or you are employed by an employer, this information is very prudent to making sure you don't get screwed because they do not teach you this in school, guys. So let me break down what tax brackets are first. If you do not know, this was the brilliant thing that I had this education on because I didn't understand exactly how this worked literally until the last couple weeks, which I feel like such an idiot that I didn't know this, guys, because I've always just used an account and it bothered me so much. So I watched a few videos, took courses, and here's what we came up with. So here's the Canadian and US tax bracket for 2018. This changes year by year, but it's super easy to Google because that's how I got these numbers, was pretty much right off the Canadian and US government websites, which makes it super easy. But let's talk about generally what they mean by a tax bracket and how this works. So if you live in Canada, the first $46,000, $46,605 you make, you will be taxed 15% on that. Just that lump sum of income, you'll be paying 15%. If you live in the US, if you make $38,700, and that's where you cap out at, you'll be charged a 12% tax rate, guys. So a little better for you in the US than here. So this is where things got really interesting for me, and I didn't realize. I thought you had to pay a certain percentage on everything you make no matter what, but you don't. So these percentages right here is all you're going to pay on that wallet. So you filled that wallet up with $46,000. That $46,000 or $38,000, you're going to be taxed 15 or 12% depending on whether you're Canada or US. That's it. Boom. Done. Moving on. If you make anything after those numbers, moving into these wallets over here, guys. So let's just move into the next bracket as an example. So the next bracket essentially means that any dollar you make after $46,600, you are going to be taxed 20.5% on if you live in Canada. In the US, any dollar you make after $38,700, you are going to be taxed 22%. And this is just going up to $82,500. So that'll be the next limit you're taxed on. So no one's touching this wallet anymore. We're moving into another bracket. So every dollar you put in this wallet, that is what you're going to be taxed on those dollars. So for example, if you made $46,600, and let's say you made $10,000 more than that, you had a good income, you made $56,600. You made an extra $10,000. Well, you'll only be taxed the 20.5% on that next $10,000. If you're in the US, it's 22% only on that next $10,000, not what you made before. Now, the thing that bothered me a lot that got really confusing for me is if you are self-employed, you have to pay HST in Canada anyways, and I'm sure it's relatively similar in the States, which is just a sales tax. Here in Canada, it's 13%. So for me, if this is my income coming from my business, I always have to tack on a whopping extra 13% to pretty much all of these numbers, which is super annoying. I have this issue if you are employed, guys. They'll just automatically deduct it. But the thing you need to understand is if you are employed by somebody and you're not filling these tax brackets, you might be getting taxed for some of these anyways. So the thing is really interesting to me is that even if you are employed, this matters, because when I worked like with McDonald's, I never even understood this. They just automatically deduct it and you think that's how the world works. But if you pay attention to it and you realize that they're giving you a tax bracket that maybe over here when you're only making over here, you can actually claim and get all of those taxes back. And if you're really smart, you can take the initiative to say, holy crap, they're doing this every year to me, so why don't I just go tell my employer that he needs to stop taking these taxes off and pay me, so that way I get the money up front and I can invest it and have it grow over the time that it's not in the government's hands. Because when it's in the government's hands, I'm not getting any extra payments for those. I'm not getting interest payments or investment payments or anything. So it's better it's in my pocket than their pocket, obviously. And I'm not going to go through all of these, but you can take a quick glance. I'll zoom in. Maybe we'll skip to the end one here where you see things get a little more confusing. So again, you only pay for what you make after each bracket. All right, guys. So essentially, in Canada here, we're going to skip to this last bracket where things get a little more interesting. If you make $205,000, guys, anything after that, you're going to be paying 33% on. So if you made $1 million, everything after 205,000, which let's say is about 800 grand or $795,000, you're going to be paying 33% on if you're fortunate enough to be up in that higher bracket, guys. Now, if you're down in the US, you're going to be looking at, things get a little different here, so I have to come back to this number because in Canada, it just automatically hops to 33% anything after 205. But in the US, if you make $200,000 up to from 157, you'll be paying 32% on anything over 157,000 up to 200,000, guys. So, and then if we move into this last bracket here, anything from 200 to 500,000, so that's about a $300,000 difference. On that 300,000 from here to here, you're gonna be paying 35% on. And then they have one more bracket in the US that we don't have in Canada, guys, which means from 500 to 600 plus thousand, anything over that, you're gonna be paying a whopping 37% on, which is pretty extreme, guys. But trust me, things aren't done yet, guys. This is where things get really interesting because there's one more pocket I didn't put on here. And remember, the thing to absolutely not forget is you only pay on these initial amounts. So let's say you had $1 million income this year, guys. Well, we got to kind of work our way forward with that million. So the first 46,000 or 38,000, here's what you're going to be paying on that million. And then once you get up to 93,000, so on that next bit of money in between these two brackets, you're going to be paying that amount on. And then again, once you get into the next bracket from 144 to 205, or in the US from 157 to 200, you'll be paying 29% moving into this bracket. Same with this one here, you'll be moving into this bracket paying that bit extra. So if you make a lot of money, this, you probably want an account because this gets really annoying, but you can do it at home. It's really easy to understand, guys. Way easier to understand than I thought it was, because eventually they're just individual wallets and you only pay what you put into these individual wallets. And so there's one pocket I did not put on here that is super, super important, all right? And this is the reason everyone should work for themselves, is the, let me draw my little pocket here first. This is the best pocket of all because this is your write-off pocket. This is what you get to write off at the end of the year, guys. Don't mind my horrible spelling, but anything you put in here, you do not pay taxes on, but only if it is related to a business. So here's the two, the upside and the downside to working for yourself, guys. If you work for yourself, you are going to be paying a 13% tax. Again, in Canada, I'm not 100% sure what that would be in the US. I didn't look it up. Maybe I'll throw it up. I'll look it up when I'm editing this. So this pocket right here is super duper important because any money you put into this pocket, though you still got to pay that 13% on it, kind of sucks, because anything you put into this pocket, you don't pay any tax on. This is your write-off pocket. And what you can do with this is you can write yourself off down into different tax brackets. But let's say you wanted to buy a new vehicle for your business. You absolutely needed it. Well, you had some issues at your office. You had to do some repairs, fix things up. You had to pay for internet. You had a business phone. You had gas bills, guys. You had car insurance. You had all this stuff that was related directly to your business. Well, anything directly related to that business, you can take that income and plop it in your write-off folder. So essentially, let's say you had $40,000 worth of expenses and it brought you from this tax bracket all the way back down to this one. Well, now you're only going to be paying that 15% on that $46,000 and you won't have to pay any tax on the write-offs. So it's really good if you start your own little side hustle, even if you work for somebody, because then you're going to be able to take advantage of this folder here. And this folder is awesome because, like, I live at home here, guys, and I use my bedroom as an office. So it's like the place I live at is mostly a write-off to me anyways, which is super awesome, guys. You can kind of take advantage of a living style that's related to your business, and you can use it to your full advantage to help not pay the government money. Again, I'm not fighting to not pay the government money, but I mean, if you're going to do things anyways for your business, you might as well be able to take advantage of the tax benefits, guys. Just to leave you with a few little side notes here, this is just a really quick fun thing that I actually had no idea how this worked literally up till a few months ago, and things do get a little confusing. I'm not telling you to do your own taxes. You should still advise with an accountant, a professional licensed accountant, guys, because then again, if you're doing anything wrong or illegal, he'll help you out with that, or she'll help you out with that. And if they are helping you do something illegal and you get caught, well, they also get tagged for it. So it's kind of interesting that your accountant is also liable if they screw this information up. So it gives you a little bit of sense of security that they're going to have a little bit of fear on their back to not screw up your taxes, guys, because it does come back onto them as well. I want you to let me know in the comments section below, what bracket do you live in? I wish I was living over here. One day, maybe if I'm super lucky and I can really build up these passive income sources and keep building my career, guys. But I usually live somewhere somewhere around in this section right here. It's always in between these guys here. I've never capped out at that 93,000 or 82,000 if you live in the US, roughly the same price. But I've never capped out over that. I've always kind of lived in here over the last at least 4 or 5 years. I'm super grateful for that, guys, and I'm very happy. I'm not bragging about it or anything. It's just when I worked for myself, I used to make like 20 bucks an hour for tips. I'd be lucky if I made 80 or 100 bucks a day on a weekend. And now I'm living somewhere in a healthy place where I can actually afford to do things. And it does take a lot of work, guys. It took me quite some time to build this up. I didn't just walk into a career. I really had to hustle up and make all of this possible, and I use these incomes to build the passive income sources that I talk about on this channel, guys. If you have any questions, please just let me know in the comment section below. I would love to learn from you guys as well, so if there's anything you know that I missed here, definitely let me know in that comment section, guys. But stay super cool, stay super awesome. I look forward to talking to you tomorrow, guys.